Donald Trump is reported to be quite anxious about everything that's going on. And as this article I'm going to read to you kind of breaks down, and as I've looked into extensively recently, it just is not the similar situations he was in before. The Ukraine stuff, the Russia stuff, even the stuff after January 6th directly, where he had an out. He had an easy way to decry it as all politically motivated, and that just isn't landing anymore. And he's panicking that he might actually go down because of the FBI investigation into him, and of course the big FBI raid that was a part of that investigation. So, reading from Raw Story. On Tuesday, the New York Times reported that former President Donald Trump is privately scared of the FBI investigation against him, whatever he might say and do publicly. The investigation, the scope of which first became publicly known after the FBI executed a search at Trump's Mar-a-Lago country club in Palm Beach, Florida, centers on classified documents the former president removed improperly, possibly including high-level nuclear secrets. Quote, if the investigation into Mr. Trump's possible connection with Russia was convoluted or hard for Americans to grasp, this one is not. The document's inquiry is about boxes of paper, storerooms, souvenirs, and top secret stamps. The kind of identifiable items that Mr. Trump has weaponized to bludgeon opponents, akin to Hillary Clinton's private email server on Hunter Biden's laptop, reported Maggie Haberman and some others. The document's investigation is also about whether Mr. Trump or his associates may have obstructed the inquiry, according to the court papers filed with the search warrant. And despite the bravura, Mr. Trump has betrayed anxiety in private conversations about where this is all leading. People have spoken to him say, quote, Mr. Trump's court filing on Monday requesting the special master to review the seized documents was styled as a legal motion, but it sounded more like a news release drafted by Mr. Trump himself. The report continued. It was filed with bombastic complaints that the government had long treated Mr. Trump unfairly. The document cited purported examples like 2 years of noisy Russian collusion investigations. It's also contained Trumpian boasts about the former president being the clear frontrunner for the 2020 election, which is so weird in a court filing, which the initial court filing that he did in an attempt to kind of move things in his direction legally got rejected, and the judge said, come back with something different, because that was horribly miswritten and horribly not up to standards. So Trump is nervous. Trump is anxious about this. And that's fascinating to me, because so often it seems like nothing lands on him. So often it seems like he gets that he's not going to be held accountable. He gets that he's going to come out the other side and can call it all a political witch hunt. And largely that did work for him. Now, I think some of the investigations that went on into him, the impeachments, all those things were important, and I'm sure convinced some people of his wrongdoing, but he pretty successfully got out of those unscathed, even though one of them was about him, riling up a mob to storm the Capitol. People just have their preconceived notions, and then Trump confidently looks at them and says, you're right. And they go, hoorah. And so it really didn't get to people. But I think this is getting to more people. Now, among Republicans, he's actually becoming more popular after the FBI investigation, because I think the Looney Tune type voters who were shifting to DeSantis, who is also still Looney Tunes, were like, actually, I'm going to go back and be loyal to Trump because of everything that's going on and because of all the witch hunts that are going on into him. Whereas moderate Republicans and Democrats and kind of independents who were just not paying attention, I think the FBI investigation has even further woke them up to the criminality of Trump and the wrongdoing of Trump. And so that political awareness and that kind of awareness of reality by more people in the country, I think is making Trump nervous. And I think as well, even Trump, as delusional as he is, understands whenever things are getting intense legally. And so in so many situations with so many of these investigations, he knows with the proper lawyers and everything, he can wiggle out of it or delay it for so long. But this, I think he knows that he's not going to be able to do that. And for him, that's very scary. And for us, that's hopeful that we'll see some sort of justice for Trump for all of the wrongdoing that he has done throughout his life with all of his business stuff, but then also throughout his presidency. In this case, relating to him taking government documents, but most importantly to me, and this is separate from the FBI investigation, at least in this case, is his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. If we can see justice on that, I'll have some hope in our judicial system and some hope in our country in a sense. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the case.